Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're all having a great day. I got some good news for us today. One of the first things I have is Ripple executive David Schwartz says Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are hit with surprising levels of hostility to innovation. And he says some things about the banks they're trying to work with, which I thought was really interesting. So I wanted to include this in today's report. We also have outflow of Bitcoin for miners at lows not seen since 2010. And the analyst who predicted Bitcoin's 150% bounce from March lows is quote unquote still long. So guys, if you're excited to get into this, make sure you just drop the video a like. It helps me push this out to more people. If you like daily cryptocurrency videos, consider subscribing. And with that said, let's get right into it. So when Bitcoin crashed to 3,700 in March, many were quick to throw in the towel. There was one prominent analyst that said that looking at the charts, he saw a good likelihood the cryptocurrency was to fall under 1,000. That would have marked a more than 70% correction from the capitulation lows. One trader, though, argued literally hours after 3,700 was hit that Bitcoin price was primed to see a V-shaped reversal to recover the losses it incurred. And as crazy that prediction was at the time, he was right, with Bitcoin rallying back to pre-crash levels 6 weeks ago in dramatic fashion. That same analyst is now saying he is still long. The same analyst is still long on the cryptocurrency market, noting that there is a possibility that Bitcoin rockets to $17,000 in the months ahead. That would mark an 85% rally from current prices. Yeah, guys, if that 17,000 is actually going to happen, it's actually going to come, we need to push through the resistance that we're currently at. While he is long currently, he does expect Bitcoin to correct lower to conclude the third quarter. With or without a final rally, the remainder of the summer seems to be for a correction, he said. Importantly, if Bitcoin does rocket in the coming months, the analyst chart indicates that the correction won't be as deep as the cryptocurrency will have found more support. The analyst suggested that if the rally tops at 10,500, the correction will be to 6,400. And if the rally tops at 17,000, the correction will be to 11,000. And guys, just off reading that, let me know in the comments what scenario would you prefer? Like, obviously, these are just scenarios, but what scenario would you prefer? Me personally, I would rather us top out at 10,500 and correct to 64, because I'd love to buy some more Bitcoin at 6,400. I know where Bitcoin's going long term, and the lower the price stays, the more opportunity it is for me to buy. But would you also agree with that? Would you like to accumulate Bitcoin at 64, or are you basically exhausted and you would like a rally to 17 and then correct down to 11? Let me know in the comments which one you guys want. So moving on, he isn't the first to have suggested that Bitcoin has the potential to fall to 6,400 in the coming months. The trader that predicted Bitcoin would fall to 6,400 in 2019 months before it happened noted that there is a good likelihood the crypto re-enters the 6,000s before a long-term rally. While the analyst who shared the above chart is still long, there is a confluence of signs suggesting that the bearish correction scenario has a higher chance of playing out than the correction. So these are the 3 points. Point 1, BTC has formed a rounded top after peaking at 10,400 earlier this month. The analyst noted that the exact same pattern was seen in February of this year that preceded the drop to 3,700 in the weeks that followed. Point 2, there is more selling volume than buying volume, forcing prices lower. And point 3, the cryptocurrency is currently trading below its local point of control. So, interesting, guys. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Personally, I've also been looking for Bitcoin to come between the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range, and if it goes there, I am going to be a buyer. I can't wait. Bitcoin today still sideways. We're still at 9,300, and the overall market is still the same. We're looking at all the same prices. So, same as yesterday. Fear and Greed Index, we're at 37, same thing as well. We need to get out of this range, guys. We really need to break up and hit this 17,000, or we need to hurry up and break it down so we can accumulate at 6,000. Whale alert for today, we have 1,083 Bitcoin valued at approximately 10 million USD transferred from Coinbase to unknown wallet. I also asked you guys on Twitter, what price do you plan on selling your first major Bitcoin bag? If you're not following me on Twitter, I don't post the most amazing stuff there, but hey, give me a follow, help me out. And if you guys like daily cryptocurrency videos, if you guys want to stay up to date with everything crypto news and all the altcoins and everything awesome like that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Guys, let's see if we can get to 2,100 subscribers today. I know we probably will hit it. You guys are absolutely amazing. You guys have been subscribing and liking the video like crazy, so thank you guys for all the support. And with that said, let's move into our next article, the outflow of Bitcoin from miners at lows not seen since 2010. So miner outflows of Bitcoin have dropped to decade lows, with analysts suggesting a hoarding mentality is partly responsible. It's all right, guys, hoarding mentality, I could get behind that. If everyone's hoarding, that creates more scarcity. So the 7-day average of the total amount of Bitcoin transferred out of miners' addresses declined to 987 on Thursday, hitting the lowest level since February 3rd of 2010. The previous decade low of 988 was registered on May 23. And so as we can see, here is the miners' outflow volume, and even just look at this drop off here. We've actually had a serious drop, so we were already kind of, in a range, but at a pretty low range. Now we've just had this drop. Looks like we might be consolidating a little bit, but it's too early to really tell. I guess we'll just see what happens with this. It is a sign of efficient miners continuing to hoard, only selling a proportion of BTC, said Asim Ahmad. The increase in miner holding does not necessarily have long-term bullish implications for the cryptocurrency's price. Miners tend to operate mainly on cash and liquidate their holdings almost on a daily basis for fund operations. As such, miner hoarding could be termed as temporary deferral of BTC sales, possibly due to fears that the markets lacks the strength to absorb the regular amount of supply. Essentially, they may be waiting for the market to show strength and prices to rise before realizing their profits. The market, therefore, could face an above normal miner supply during the next meaningful price rise. That, in turn, could put the brakes on a price rally. Hoarding aside, the other main reason for the decline in outflows is the reduction in Bitcoin being mined since May's reward halving, said Ahmad. Indeed, transfer volume for miner addresses fell from 2,334 Bitcoin to 1,034 in the 9 days following the May 11 reward halving, which reduced the per block emission by 50% to 6.25 BTC. That sharp decline in profitability forced out less inefficient miners, as evidenced by a drop in the 7-day average of the hash rate, the total computing power dedicated to mining blocks on the blockchain. That fell from 120 terahashes per second to 90 terahashes a second in the 2 weeks following the halving, though it's since climbed as more efficient miners were switched on. So you can actually see that capitulation, more efficient miners, and looks like now we're having another correction, or this is from the miners not selling as of right now. Forced out miners, however, may return to Bitcoin's blockchain if prices rise sharply, making older hardware once again profitable. That's interesting. So if Bitcoin's prices go up, these more inefficient miners will then turn on. That's going to be interesting, guys, when Bitcoin does start going up and then we have more miners coming on. That'll be interesting to see what it does to price. Now, let's move into this. Ripple executive says Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP are hit with surprising levels of hostility. So during the virtual Blockdown 2020 conference, David Schwartz, who was the CTO of Ripple, said crypto owners tend to get tribal due to their desire to earn a return on investment, showing remarkable levels of animosity toward rival technologies. Now, guys, I caught myself being like this, right? I caught myself where I would have my coin that I believed in, and, I believe in my coin, and if there's anybody else trying to innovate on my coin, you almost feel kind of panicked, like, shit, I just bought this coin, now there's a new coin that could come and innovate. I think this is a good read just to even keep your own emotions in check. See if you are like the person that David Schwartz is describing, and if you are, just change your attitude and be more open to investing in different things. Don't get left behind, so to speak. So he said, I think the one thing that is kind of surprising to me is the sort of hostility to innovation in a lot of the space. A lot of that comes from people who have invested heavily in a project. I can't talk about the cryptocurrency space without facing the reality that if you think Bitcoin is going to take over the world, you probably own some Bitcoin. If you think Ethereum is going to take over, you probably own some Ether. If you think the XRP ledger is the greatest thing in the world and everyone's going to use it for everything, you probably hold some XRP. He explains the implications of cherry picking the perceived flaws of a digital asset. If someone tells you, hey, Bitcoin has this problem, or Ethereum has this problem, or the XRP ledger has this weakness, if they're right, then you will perceive yourself as losing money. What happens is people dig in very, very deeply and nobody is invested in the project that doesn't exist yet. And so there's this sort of hostility to innovation. Schwartz cites Bitcoin as an example, explaining why investors of the King coin may not welcome improvements in other cryptocurrencies. The Lightning Network is something that enhances Bitcoin's usability, and so, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you like the Lightning Network. It is good innovation, whereas if Ethereum is improving its scalability, and you could perceive that as a threat to Bitcoin, you would sort of perceive that as bad innovation. The Ripple exec also says that he experienced the same frustrating phenomenon and lack of utility in the legacy financial system. Now, this is probably the most interesting part of the article, guys, so listen to this. All the existing banks and financial institutions want you to build on top of their existing tech because that's what enriches them. The same thing has happened in the cryptocurrency community. People are now saying, no, build on top of Bitcoin because I'm invested in it. Build on top of Ether because I'm invested in it. Don't build new technologies that are better or that threaten the incumbents. Bitcoin was like a radical movement, and now it's the institution that people don't want you to threaten now. So, interesting read, guys. Interesting read, and I think it was a great perspective. Kind of opened up my mind, because if I think back to how I was, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, this is exactly how I was. You know, I had my coins, and you know, when I saw something that threatened my coin, rather than invest into it or look more into it, I would kind of, you know, just put on the blinders and be like, no, you know, my coin's gonna win because I'm invested in it, right? So I have an emotional attachment, right? That's why I try to tell you guys not to be emotionally invested in any one coin. You never want to tie in your emotions to any one coin. So if you are that person, let's say you're heavily invested in XRP and you see something come along that, you know, could possibly rival XRP, if you react the way David Schwartz you react with hostility, just kind of look within and ask yourself why. Are you over leveraged? Are you risking too much? Have you put in more than you can afford to lose? You know, this space is new and you have to be open to new things. Nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen. And, you know, here's the top 100 coins by market cap. We look at the top 10. These coins could be different in a year or two. They could be completely different. There could 7 or 8 of these coins could not even be here. Now, I think, honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if most of them will. I think Bitcoin still will. Ethereum still will. I think XRP will still be here. But as for the rest of them, everything's kind of too new to tell. Like, I'd love for Cardano to still be here. I would. Maybe Binance Coin will move up. Maybe EOS will still stay here. I'm not sure. I know EOS is having some problems. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see where everything ends up. But with that said, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, consider dropping a like on that like button. It is free and it helps me tremendously with growing the channel. And if you're still around, hey, why not subscribe? Like I said, I produce a daily video on cryptocurrency, trying to keep you guys up to date in the news and know what's going on. And if you appreciate that, I would appreciate you subscribing. Also, turn on notifications so you can get notified every time I upload. And with that said, I'll see you all on tomorrow's video. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope you guys are all hodling strong. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.